Okay, hello, and greetings to you, viewer from across the tubes. I am Gnarly Quack, although my friends and enemies call me Carl, and I am back working on Dr. Strangetest, my testing framework for PHP. And today it's mainly going to be a refactoring day. I mentioned yesterday the water seems to be getting a little bit shallower as we're finally sort of wading to the other side of the river, I guess, on this one. Feels like I've kind of been uh, spent a fair bit of time sort of trying to lock down what I've been doing with the diff algorithm within the framework, and it seems like we are finally reaching a point of stability. So yesterday was also mainly a day of just kind of cleaning things up, refactoring things. Most of that work was focused on the formatting module, and there was some nice, actually, I think I sorted out some lurking bugs in there. And so with the lurking module done, the formatting module done, I'm going to spend most of the stream today, I think, on doing the same sort of cleanup within the diff module. And with a little bit of luck, I'll actually have that all finished up today, and I can move on to something else. So that would be kind of exciting. I think this is like reaching the third full week of working on this diff algorithm. So let's get into the code here. See where things are at. Don't think I did anything after the stream yesterday, but I guess I'll just take a look. Wow, we are building quite the well, this update thing. But anyway, I've got, when it comes down to actually merging all this back into trunk, I don't know. I keep saying I'll go in here and sort of clean up all these commits and everything and make it a nice commit history, but I'm beginning to wonder how much value is actually in that, so we'll see. So yeah, that's where I left things off. So I guess I'm going to start actually back in the formatting module. Actually, let me just run these. And I had mentioned several times yesterday about getting rid of this format indent function, which I think I'm just going to try and do that now and see if anything is still using that, because with the conversion to a formatting object and using one object for throughout the generation of a diff, we may actually no longer use this function. Looks like we do, so let's see where that's happening. And I'm going to have to turn on my fan, so give me 1 second. Try and keep my little nut cool there. And try and prevent too many things from blowing around on my desk here. Should just be incentive to I guess clean my desk, but anyway, so I feel like okay. I guess that does make sense there. Where else are we using this? 1332. Start value. Actually, the show object ID is living in the formatter. Show key is not. That gets formatted or determined per item, I guess. This we have the formatter, so let's just make this change. on 574. Suspect we are going to have the formatter in here too. We actually have the state, so that should fix those two. And I suppose this really shouldn't even be a decision, right? Because we are calling. Well, I guess we weren't actually using the format indent off the formatter up until now. But now that we are, we kind of need, I think that forces our hand to use it everywhere just to ensure we are having consistent diffs. Or consistent format anyway. And then this already, so this will also take the variable formatter. And that should actually, I guess I need the closing parentheses there. And while I'm here, where else are we using this? This is it. So I was debating yesterday whether or not to turn this into a method, and I think I am now. So let me just do that. That should fix all the format stuff, but now, oh well, except now I need to pass that in. So let's go back to the formatter here. What do we have? Format object start. Guess I'll put this after the object. Oh, what do we have under here? Oh, indent. All right, well, that works too. Remove that. So now we no longer need the show object ID because we're just going to get that out of the object that it's in. And I guess I need to remove that type hint and actually down here. Yeah, so that should fix that anyway, I believe. Although, right, I actually need to now make this a method call. Yeah, okay. That should probably fix the formatter then. Unless, of course, it doesn't. Oh, yeah, I just said we don't need to pass in. Oh, what am I doing? Delete? Okay. Right. All right. 1328. Yep. 943. We said we need a formatter there, I think. What do we... This is going to come off the state formatter, I believe. Just make sure that fixes that. 913... Not even sure where I'm in here. And the 623. $622 is going to be the same thing. All right. 618. So 9. That's going to be. So I think that'll clear that up Start value invoked with, oh, that's right. Yeah, no longer need that. That is determined now once and passed around. 618. Okay. So let me just take another look at this formatter here real quick. I think this is about as... Oh, I remember what else I wanted to do. I decided I think I am going to knock out most of this API stuff. This will stay part of the API. This will not. That will not. That will not be. Just get rid of that. So just. And I guess my reason for that is, and let me just make sure I didn't make this reference check a part of the API. Doesn't look like it. And I guess my reason for that is it's easier to make something API later rather and like it's easier to make something part of the API later than it is to make something not part of the API. And while I am partial to like making all of that the API, I feel like it's fairly complex right now. And it's probably an academic thing unless somebody actually uses this framework besides me. and besides me using the framework to test itself as I work on it. But if, as I kind of mentioned before, if I want the framework to sort of be easily, I don't know if extendable is the right word, but I want it to provide some tools so that if the framework doesn't have the assertions that you want to make in your code, it's easy to write an assertion. Like writing your own assertion should be, these are the built-in assertions in the framework. Like if somebody wants to write their own assertion, it really shouldn't be any harder than this. And so part of that is exposing those tools as well. So I'm already, right, this part of the framework doesn't actually use the complex formatting API. It uses diff, it uses that format failure message, and it uses the format variable at points. So exposing the sort of complex formatting API would be more like if somebody wants to write their own diff, I guess, which, again, I'm not opposed to that, of course, but it's sort of a different level of what's being exposed, I guess. Anyway, so short story is I think I'm going to hold off making everything outside of the these simple functions here part of the API. And I think that may be all I want to do here in the formatting module. Because this is another thing too, right? This format property, it sort of assumes this property name is handed in a certain way, and it's specifically when an object is cast to an array, this is how the properties are formatted when PHP does that cast. So there are just some things that, again, I'd kind of like more of a use case or working example of a use case beyond what I am using it for inside the framework. Yeah. So otherwise, I'm very happy with how this cleaned up and how this sort of integrated with the diff module. Just make sure everything's written there. All right. So now I guess it's time to dig into the meat of the matter, which is the diff module. And I may actually end up bumping this out. Bump. Let's see here. You know, I guess instead of this, I'm torn here. Right here, what was it? String. Right here, I just hard-coded this constant instead of using a constant expression, which would be the bitwise OR of these two. That's because I'm sort of forced to here, unless I want to make these global constants, because you can't like use define on a class to like do a runtime, to define a runtime constant on a class. As far as I know, I guess I've never really tried it. I'm not quite even sure how that would look, but here I have the option of defining a runtime constant, and so it just seems more foolproof to me to sort of, okay, in that case, let's just do the bitwise operation that we want just to make sure this always stays in sync, because there's a little bit of extra overhead here until I guess we get to PHP 5.6. And like if we change one of these, which I can't ever see those changing, right, this would have to be changed, whereas if we change these, this will still be fine, assuming we don't screw up the bitwise, the bit pattern here, I suppose. So I guess I'll leave that way. I have a feeling I may want to do something though with this, but I guess let's just go in order, and I think I am going to change this API from actual and expected. Which means this is going to have to change into actual name. And this is going to go to expected name. Oh, I guess I need to change that. And also I think, boy. And I think just to prevent I'm thinking of expected in my head and writing actual. Okay. And I think just to kind of prevent, I think in the rest of the framework, this might be confusing, but the rest of the framework or the rest of the module, everything's, private. I think I'm just going to leave that the same. So let me, that seems to work okay. So, set up our initial state, process the values, then if, depending on the type of comparison we have, I'm half contemplating getting rid of this comparator. but we'll come back to that. Anyway, so we generate the diff, then we format the diff, and then we return the result. So here we have the state, and I think this all looks good. Hey developer, how are you? Thanks for stopping in. So this project I'm working on myself is, yeah, pretty much just for fun. But test frameworks in general, I would say, are very useful to have when you're working on a project. There are other PHP test frameworks out there, but this one I just decided to I just decided to create my own one basically, and mostly for fun. I mean, I use it when I do PHP programming. I use it if I have the option to. I use it on my own projects, but yeah, I'm basically building this for myself. Hope that answers your question. It is not. No, it is much more of my PHP is much more of a procedural style, and it's a command line application. So this is it right here. This first part is PHP stand, which I use. I don't know if you're a PHP programmer, but I basically just have my tests set in a make file, so it runs PHP stand as a static analyzer, and then it runs the test suite or the test framework on itself. And so this is the output of the test framework. So right now it's only command line, but there's no reason that couldn't be. You would just need to update the output module basically to output to different formats. But it's the architecture as a whole is yeah, much more procedural. And when needed, I do pull some things out into objects and stuff. But I kind of don't. I kind of let all that stuff evolve naturally as the code sort of as it becomes obvious that's what the code wants to do. So, and right now I'm working on while I'm finishing up. I've been working on Stream for the last couple weeks or so on implementing a diff algorithm. So I guess let me pull up some tests. So are you a PHP programmer or a programmer in general, or are you just kind of floating around, checking out the software channel to see what's going on? Oh, okay. Yeah, so if you're familiar with like PHP unit or something, right? When you have a test fail, it generates many times, depending, I guess it depends on the assertion, it generates like a difference as an output. So here, this is comparing two objects that are different. So right, it's telling you it expected property 3 to be foo, but it's actually 2. So just the diff format says you need to remove property 3 with the value foo, and then add property 3 with the value 2 in order to get the actual to meet expected. So that's kind of what I've been working on. Just here's another example with just arrays where the array elements are different. So I've put a lot of work into the framework's diff algorithm so that it's type aware. So let me see if I can. So here, Let me pull up another test. If I can type. So we're diffing unequal arrays here. So these are, I'm actually not sure. It's been a while since I've looked through some of these tests, so I just want to see what's in here. So here, this is diffing two arrays, and these are the arrays up here. And this is with loose comparison, basically comparison using double equals, and then this is a comparison using strict equals, triple equals, like this. So you can see here, like because of PHP rules, one mouse and true are loosely equal. So the diff just points out, since this is it sort of defaults to the from or the actual. So instead of showing, like, there's something else in this array that's not equal, but instead of showing you that one mouse needs to change to true, it just shows you that it's one mouse. Whereas over here, let's see if I have a good example. I guess I didn't do quite the same diff comparison, but anyway, the point being, I put a lot of work into just making my diff algorithm type aware, and then it's also operator aware too. So depending on the types of values you have and the type of comparison you want to do, it gives you accurate output. I hope that made sense when I'm explaining. So what did I actually change in here? Anything? And the other thing I've done here too is I guess I should just put that in a comment. This is a reference. Is with loose in PHP with loose comparisons. PHP doesn't take the order of keys. It just makes sure both arrays have the same keys and that they're equal values. So in this case, the array I'm actually testing against is in reverse order from this array, and so I'm just making sure, like, the difference algorithm actually sorts the array out so you get a sensible diff. Whereas I think I have one over here where it's identical. Oh, I may have it down here. I don't know, but like if this was an identical, a strict comparison, even if all these values were the same, the fact that the keys are in a different order would make this diff fail. So in that case, the algorithm doesn't sort the arrays. I'm not sure which type of functionality. I guess I'm not sure. I guess I don't quite understand the question there. I thought I had a test of. Object to scalar, scalar to object, empty array to an array. I guess maybe I just stuck it into another. Maybe not. Oh well. Oh, I wanted to keep this comment in here. Oh, well, I haven't, right, I don't do like strict type check. I mean, I don't have any facilities other than what the language provides, but I just have, um, so I mean, this is what I'm actually working on. This is the diff algorithm here, and I'm actually supporting a fairly old version of PHP, so most of my type hints are in comments here that PHP stand understands, but I'm basically, if you're when diffing two values, I basically go through and process them. And basically, I just check to see, I do reference checking to make sure, uh, like it's not like a recursive reference, but then I just basically check to see what type it is, and based off the type it is, I just save off some information, and then I process if it's like a composite type, like an array or an object or a multi-line string. Then I also do recursively process all of its subvalues. But then based on this information, the diff then looks to see what kind of comparison you're doing, because that also supports like greater than or less than comparisons, as well as like equal and identical comparisons. Then it kind of passes those off to two different code paths, but then uh, it basically runs like the diff algorithm, but it runs it recursively. So depending on what type it has, it may recursively um, do like if you have like two arrays and it turns out like an array of array, so it'll diff that array, but then if it turns out some array and that array is not equal or doesn't match whatever the comparison is, then it recursively goes and looks for does a diff on that array. So you end up getting basically an accurate diff for like composite elements, if that makes sense. Because I think most frameworks they'll take whatever the two values are that they're comparing and like cast them to a string, and then do like basically a string comparison of the two values, and then depending on the type of comparison you're doing, you'll get an inaccurate diff. So this actually does the comparison against the actual values, and then if those don't match, then it formats a string output of what's going on. I don't know if that makes sense what I'm explaining. And I guess so let me just, I guess I could probably just show you. So like 1, 2, 3, 4, say, and array 2 equals 1, 2, 3, 4. And I guess I should put something in here that just doesn't match. So now if I run these tests, oh yeah, so as you see, I have the same arrays here, and I'm doing two different assertions on it or tests on it. This is asserting this is basically loose equality using that, and this is basically strict equality. And so if I run the test now, what is this test output? Well, it helps if I so you can see here for the loose equality, oh, well, it caught that. But you can see it was fine with the 1 and it was fine with the 3. So it just printed numerical 1 and 3, but down here it wasn't happy with that, so it printed these should all be integers, but instead you gave me strings. So and this is exactly how the framework works. It automatically finds your tests. So the fact that I just named the function test, it automatically found them. So I guess that's what I'm talking about with how the formatting works. And then I guess and this is what I just got done doing, was supporting these less than comparisons with the same. So that's right. This is a bad value. As you can see here for the oh, those passed? Oh, that passed because of this. Yeah. So now those should fail. So yeah, so for the less than comparison, this is saying, right, these arrays, if you change any one of these values to be greater than, or this is the less than, so if you change any of these values to be less than any one of these values, it will pass. For this one, this is an equal. So these values are actually okay, so you can actually change them, but it's saying the thing that's making the comparison fail is this 5 needs to be made less than 4. So this stuff has been working for a while, but this less than comparison is what I've been working on for the last couple weeks to support that that formatting in the framework. And I basically got it done, and today I'm working on just kind of cleaning up all that code. So that is kind of the, yeah, that's what I'm working on. Anyway, thanks for stopping in, and if you have any more questions about the framework, I'm gonna try and get back into the work here. But if you have any more questions or want to know anything I'm working on, yeah, feel free to ask. I don't really think there's anything I can do here in process value to. Part of the reason is I don't only code in PHP, and so um, instead of using like PHP Storm or something like that, or excuse me, an editor that's specific to a language, I kind of just like using the same editor for everything. And I've relatively recently have like so I'm using Vim or NeoVim. So I've just kind of been wanting to learn how to use one of those editors for a while. So that's kind of what I'm using now. But yeah, basically just regardless of what I'm programming and I have a consistent environment that I'm working in. And I'm also on Linux, so I'm a terminal nerd, I guess. So if there's something I can use in the terminal, I guess I prefer it. Uh, so I feel like, well, give me one second. I'm gonna take like 2 minutes just to go refill my coffee. So yeah, I'm just gonna be gone for a couple minutes, and I'll be right back. All right, and I am back. So am I. What did I change in tests? I guess I just made that a comment to make clear what was going on there. So why are we passing in? Yeah, I've got it up on GitHub. Uh, I've got the link in my profile, but give me 1 second here. But this is the repo here. If you're interested in taking a look at it. And I've got it on packages and everything, although it doesn't need Composer. It can run, you can just download a FAR too. So what am I using this comp for? I guess I don't need to pass this in. Because I'm holding that in the state. So this will just go state. Who else is calling LCS values? $674. Oh, an LCS array doesn't need this then either. I'm not. What do you mean by stage? Oh, you mean this variable here, state? So it's just instead of because I'm not really doing a like strictly object-oriented style. This would like, so if this is all in an object, right? This would be the state. You can almost think of the state as this. So wherever you see state, you could almost think of it as this. But because I'm not really doing an object-oriented style, I just have a class. It just holds state. It doesn't have any methods on it. But so this is everything that the diff module needs, and I just kind of pass that around, and whoever needs it can use it. So it's just a little bit of a different structure than if I had written it object-oriented, I suppose. And in places that don't need it, I can just pass in, right, so like this compare equal values doesn't actually need the state, but it needs, what does this need here? It needs to know whether to, whether we're doing a strict comparison or not. So all I need to do is pass that argument to the function. But that's essentially this array is where I actually build up the diff. I have some caches here just to sort of improve performance. I keep track of the original comparison that we're doing, which is basically one of these constants. So I know what kind of diff needs to be generated. But it also tells me if like if two values being equal is okay, or if we're doing like you just saw there, if we need to do a strict comparison. And this is all like, I mean, PHP doesn't really have modules, but the fact that I have everything with underscores here means it's not like this is all internal to this file. So this is all sort of like implementation details. So I'm not particularly worried about this being used outside of this diff file. So I think that simple change is okay. Where was I? I was here, diffing equal values. So I kind of want to, I guess maybe put that up there. So if it's a full match, we just end up copying the value. If there's no match, it's a straight up insert or delete. Otherwise, we get into these composite values. So I feel like there should be another, I guess, right, if they're different types, right, the only way we could be down here is if these are composite types that have something in common, which means they're the same type. So I feel like I can sort of bump some of this out. So I can maybe just bump this up. So if we have a partial match, then we have an array, we format the object, otherwise we format the string. Then we get so this is all going to bump out a level. I guess I'll do from type equals the to type. Let's see what happens if I do that. Okay, that all looks good. To not match that have an LCS greater than 0, they must be composite values of the same type with something in common. So that is how we get down here. Values, so in this case, values match, but the key is different. So we don't need to generate a difference between the two values. format one of the values, and then swap, and then show that the keys are different. Okay, so we format this indent and place on the indent level. Kind of wonder if I'm handling, well, I guess I won't worry about it. Then we determine the suffix. Then we basically formatted, so and then strings is going to be formatted. Do we need, yeah, we do need the suffix there. So let's put that down here. So in this case, we just format the different key from and to with the indent stuck on, and then yeah, of course, developer, thanks so much for stopping in and taking an interest. So yeah, I tend to stream. Oh, and I saw you follow me. I appreciate the follow. So yeah, thanks for stopping in and checking out the stream. And yeah, take care. Catch up with you next time. It's going to be a little weird now that I think about this. If we could have identical values with different keys that are at different indent levels. I don't know if that's possible though, right? No, that I guess that can't be possible because of how things are formatted, right? We would never be comparing things of different indent levels against each other. Okay, so that looks good to me. So if this is a string, has to be a multi-line string. I think one of the strings has to be multi-line if they didn't match. Butte. Oh, where am I calculating the show key? Oh, that's up here. And then oh boy, okay. This is where I'm trying to tell build diff if it needs to show the key or not. So in order to show the key, if we want to show the key, okay, I guess that does make sense. There's some sort of nasty comparisons going on here. So if we don't show the key, or the keys match, and either it is a non-identical comparison or the type is an array, then we just shove on the first line. Otherwise, we need to do basically a change out that starting value. So I guess that looks okay. All right, so here we compare equal values. So if we have a full match, then otherwise, I guess we'll do that. The from type. So let's just actually move this up here. Bump this out too. So from type is a string and to type is a string, then if one other cost is greater than 1, then we LCS that and get the LCS. Otherwise, from type is an array and to type is an array. Or from type is an object and to type is an object, and the two types are of the same instance. Then we do that. Okay, that looks good. I think I may take this assertion out. I think I'm going to do this, and then this is going to go down here. Call this edit. So if this is not set, okay, well, I've got to close this, I guess. I feel like I may have screwed that up. I guess I didn't. So let me just double check this. So if we don't already have the matrix cache, essentially we're going to make this matrix. So we pull off the values, we get the count. If I guess from equals 0 or 2 equals 0, then we just set that to 0 and continue. Otherwise, we pull off the from and to value, and then we LCS those. If we have a full match, then oh, right, we add to the LCS, then basically whatever the LCS was of that index. Otherwise, we get the max of that, and if we have an LCS value, then we want to take the max of either this, or if we add, yeah, that, and then we set the result to max, and then we set the LCS value, that index, to whatever we got here. And then we create the new edit from all that and stick that in the cache, and then we just pull that back out of the cache and return it. So that looks good to me. And then compare equal values. So I think I wanted to be a little bit more and how am I representing these keys? So we do have a type. So I think I just want to make sure these keys are the same type. So from key type equals to key type, and what is value key? I actually wonder if this matters. I kind of feel like it doesn't matter if this is a string part. Let's just see what happens here if I see what happens if I do that. Okay. That did break something. So Okay, so it doesn't matter. Well, that's good to know. But what broke it? Did that break it, or that's weird. What happened there? Okay, so that's good to know that actually does something useful. So that sorts that out. What do we have in this edit? And what are we using? Right, we're picking off. Oh, this is an array of values. So are we ever? So we're doing LCS array. I guess that makes sense. I'm just wondering if hmm. I'm just wondering if I can handle passing the show key around a little bit better. And if it's worth sticking these values into this edit here. So what are we doing here? Function LCS array. So we do have the vat. So I feel like we should just stick all this stuff in the edit, and then we don't need to pass it around. But then I'm wondering, like, so how are we determining if something is in a list or not? What do we do for a string? We pass the same key in as the parent, so for string parts, it just inherits the value of the string as a whole, but then for like class properties and array elements, it depends on what type of class, or depends on if they're an array or what kind of class they're in. So how does build diff determine this then? Or, I mean, I know how it determines it gets it passed in, but uh, yeah, I think I'm gonna hold that stuff in the edit. I think we just shove all that stuff into the edit. But I think before I do that, I'm actually gonna use the bathroom because now I have too much coffee in me. So I'm gonna take, well, yeah, I'm gonna take like 5 minutes and hit the washroom. Back. Hello, Hexa. You caught me during a bathroom break. I'm doing well. How are you doing? Welcome, welcome to the stream, I guess. From is list. Where are we setting this is list? I guess we're only setting that explicitly for lists. So what if we just default that to false? So we're saying in build. So okay, so I guess I don't need to make that a so so now where do I make a new edit? So this is going to be from to. Let me just make sure that looks okay with everybody. I have a feeling Hexadecimal, you might have left. I did not see your chat until I have a feeling I went right on my bathroom break as you chatted. So if you're not there, I guess I'm talking to myself. But I did not see your message until I got back from my bathroom break. So I think we said that all went okay. Yeah. So maybe I will rename this again. Well, I guess I don't actually need to rename it. This is going to be, we'll just take the edit and the show. We'll just take that edit. So show key is going to equal edit from is list, and actually this is going to be not edit, edit, 2 is list. Then so I think that should cause some things to be. Oh yeah, this is not a method. Hey Basin, how are you? Yeah, I don't want that too. Did your headphones ever? I'm doing well. I'm doing well. I'm hoping to. Well, I think I said this to you yesterday, but I'm hoping to finish this up today. uh, did you have any luck with your headphones? I don't suppose those ever turned up for you. Okay, so that broke a lot of things. Actually, I guess it only broke one thing. So why is that stakes? Oh, hey Hexa, how are you? Welcome back. I think you must have sent your last chat message right as I got up to go to the bathroom, and I didn't see it till I came back. But how are you? I feel like there's a nicer way to handle this, but that's obviously not working. Oh, no worries. Sometimes you just gotta go to sleep, you know? Oh, I guess being in bed isn't the same as sleeping. Has school started back up yet, Basin? Or are you still on summer break? Well, I guess we just have to pass show key in there. Which means I guess we can do that instead. How's it being back? I feel like that first week is always both exciting, but also it's like, ugh, I'm back in school now. Okay, so then class edit, this is going to be an array of those. This is going to go back to not what I wanted to do. So now when we do a new edit, we need to pass in these from values and to values instead. Thought I did. Oh, I keep doing this. Sounds like you're hard at work in chemistry class. So Hexa, are you a if you're still there, are you a PHP programmer or a programmer in general, or just kind of floating around the software topic, seeing what's going on? Oh, okay. Yeah, C++ is a tough one. Yeah. Well, have you yeah. Are you familiar with the I don't know if it's a great way. It might be good motivation to get started, but are you familiar with like the Handmade Hero series? That might be like if you're just starting out, that might be a good way to start. Although it's up to over like 600 episodes, so it's a bit much to take it all in. Yeah, that's true. I mean, he is coding in, he is using C++, but it's like C style. Um, but yeah, if you're looking to get like into all the object oriented stuff, yeah, you're not going to learn that from Casey, which isn't necessarily a bad thing in my opinion. Yeah, It has a bad rap. I don't know. Uh, I don't actually do a lot of PHP programming anymore, but this is a project I've had sitting around for a while, and when I was doing software development professionally, it was the language I was using, so I figured this was a good way to kind of just get started streaming. Because it's a project I was familiar with and a language I was most familiar with, and so yeah, it would just seem a good way to start streaming. But I'm much more interested in C these days, and I guess some C++. plus plus. I don't know. I'm actually less interested in C++ plus plus than C, but knowing C++ plus plus is definitely useful, I suppose, if you want to get a well, it depends on what kind of job you're looking for, but knowing C++, plus plus, I guess, is definitely useful. So if I once I wrap this up, which hopefully isn't too much longer, but you know how software projects go. And if I keep streaming, I may up. Actually, the next project I kind of want to do after this is probably going to be in C++. Plus plus. Right? Yeah, yeah. So in C++, is it's just like I know it well enough to code in it, but I don't really mess around with the standard template library or anything, and I don't haven't kept up with all the yeah, I haven't kept up with all the changes to it, and it seems like they almost break more than they fix whenever they update it. So I don't know. Yeah, I know. It's that's what makes it so hard. It's they just keep adding stuff to it without really fixing any of the old stuff. Like they have was it they have some sort of syntax where like element foo if you have some sort of container type, so it's almost like a for each, like in Python or something. But I think there's something about this where if you do like foo items, assuming like the lifetime gets all screwed up. Like because you're doing a function call here, whatever you get out of items actually dies before you come down in here. So it's like okay, so I don't know when that works and when it doesn't. So I'll just stick with you know unsigned I I less than var count. Like if you're telling me this always works and this sometimes breaks under mysterious conditions, then I'm just going to use that, right? Exactly. Yeah. So I just don't need to bother learning that, in my opinion. Of course, I'm sure this is all over the place. So when you run into it, you need to be, I'm sure people use this all the time. So when you run into it, you need to know it. So anyway, that's my C++ rant for the day. I probably should rant more, right? People like to tune in for the rants. It's like, forget all this boring programming stuff. Just start ranting about something. And, we software developers, I feel like if we're good at anything, we're good at having strong opinions and ranting about stuff. So, I know, yeah. You can't really rant in chat, but I've given, I've gone off about that in somebody else's chat because they like love Lisp. And I was just telling them I'm still traumatized from college, keeping all the parentheses straight. Because I think I took some AI class, which none of which I really remember, but what I remember is it used Lisp, and before long you're just having nightmares of parentheses. Or at least I was. Some people fall in love with the language. I was just like, too many parentheses. Yeah, I understand why people like it because although it's been ages since I've used Lisp, but it's right, it's very like at the core it's very simple. So there's like not really many concepts I guess you need to learn, but then from that you can do anything. So yeah. So I can understand like why people like it and why I don't mean to like this on Lisp. Yeah, I think Clojure is a basically a Lisp variant, right? All right. So what have I decided? I guess I'm just kind of poking around right now. Oh, okay. Oh, yeah, I was screwing around with build diff. So I guess we need the show key. I guess I feel like this part of the algorithm has been in here so long. There's not really much optimization to be made here. I don't know. I guess where I really need to kind of take a look at things is because I feel like these little helper functions could be tidied up. Like this is just returning um, a constant, so it seems stupid to have that as a function. And what are we doing with n value here? This is actually doing some work. I don't know. I'm kind of inclined to just well, this is silly because this is just returning a constant, so I could just stick that in the key itself, this key object. This does have a little bit of logic, but it's just basically tacking on this indent level. Right, and then this calls down to line end. So wait, there are times when I'm using line end separate from end value, right? So I'm using it once in n value itself. Oh, I see what's going on here. Okay, so I'm passing this in a format array, and this is doing the basically the n value formatting for me. Uh, but this is still fairly stupid to have as a function. So let's just stick this in here as a line end, and that's going to be default to the empty string. A new key. Now, so this is an index, so the line end is going to be array element separator. Then down here, this is going to be a property terminator. So let's get rid of that. Guess I could just search on that. So this is going to be key line end line end okay. Actually dropped my memory usage, I guess. So that looks nice, I suppose. What else? What other silly functions do I have sitting down here? Okay. Guess I'll keep those around. I don't know. I guess where I really need to do some work is this format diff function. Because right now this is like super janky. And I guess what I can do here, so where am I calling format? So let's set diff equals new list forward iterator, and that's going to be the state diff. Same thing here. This is going to be a reverse iterator, and then we're just going to pass in this diff. And then this is going to be a list iterator. Guess I don't actually need to. So this is literally just um, these are not quite identical. So what are we doing here? This is the same. If this is diff copy, then we just copy. If it's delete, then we automatically add that to the result. Otherwise, we sort of cache that. And then here, so what are we doing? If this is a so we actually can have so let me think about this for a second. We essentially can have like three things. We can have a copy, we can have an insert, delete, and then we can have an insert, unequal, an equal, and a delete, unequal. And depending on the type of comparison, this is essentially going to be like an insert less, delete greater, or an insert greater, delete less. So, and just a straight up equal inequality, we only need to worry about, essentially we want to kind of push, we want to format as inserts, deletes, copies. And I guess we want these like broken out by separated by copies. But so whenever we run into a patch of like inserts and deletes, we want to sort those. So all the inserts, we have all the inserts, all the deletes, and all the copies. So here, we're going to delete, insert, but then I guess we want insert unequal, and then delete unequal. Well, C++ added class, which is essentially the same as a struct, except by default its members are private, whereas in a struct, by default they're public. But then all the other types have, I mean, it inherited its type system from C, and those all have, no, it doesn't need to have one. It can, if you don't define one, it has a default constructor. But literally this, I don't know, int la is the same as and I suppose I need, those are literally the same thing in C++. And conversely, is identical to like a type. And I don't know, C++ will probably even prevent you from doing this because it'd be a name conflict. But yeah, these are identical and these are identical. There is no difference to them under the hood. So that's a little bit annoying. And what's even kind of more amusing is everybody puts their public stuff first. So many times you'll see, right, this, all their public stuff, then, you know, protected, and then private, you know, and they'll put all their stuff here. And right, they could just save themselves typing public if they use a struct, but people are still used to seeing class, I guess. Right, so if you're gonna just build this out, yeah. Like if I change up to struct, it's the exact same thing. It's just the only difference between these two is what the default visibility is if you don't set a specific visibility. And that's probably because struct, like I said, struct is inherited from C, and right, there is no visibility in C, so if you just wanted a plain old struct that was compatible with C, then by default, everything in here needs to be public. No worries, Bazin, welcome back. Back in bed? I suppose, I don't know, you were talking about how expensive heating is, right? So is it just like your place is cold and you're in bed to stay warm sort of thing? I don't know. I don't know what the weather's like in Germany right now. I guess Britain's been having a heat wave. I don't know if that's still the case. Oh no, I got this exactly backwards. So I'm just thinking, right, this here is sort of a simplified version of this. And I'm just wondering if there's a way I can, right, by wrapping this in a list iterator, it doesn't matter if I need to go through the diff forward or backwards. But now I need to take into account sort of these different operations. So No worries. If you're tired, you're tired, you know? Gotta listen to your body. So I wonder if the assumptions are the same here. So where am I running into? What is well, I guess to kind of finish this change. Yeah. Yeah, so if you want, I mean, I don't know how much sleep you get in a night, but you're already under 8 hours, less than 8 hours of sleep. So, wow, that's early. So this is going to just turn into, well, diff valid. Diff next, I believe. So I suppose I should finish up one thought and just make sure this works here. Let me just see if that actually works. What buffer is this? Well, I guess I'll find out later. Oh, you know what? I guess I need to... maybe type hint that. Okay. Well, if you end up dozing off to sleep, have a good night, Baze, and I hope you sleep well and you have a good day at school tomorrow. Thank you. So what am I, so let me think about this here. I guess I can focus on this case here, and if I get this case working, I mean, I suppose I could just handle, right, these 5 cases. This is essentially what we're going to have. So I guess maybe the first thing to do is... did I not call that a diff operation? Oh, it's an interface. Yeah, that's right. So let me see where I'm at with code changes here. most of this stuff is just kind of fairly trivial, unimportant stuff, I guess. So here's what I'm going to do. I think I'm going to pull this out into like its own commit. I guess the easiest way to do that is just undo this at the moment. Random cleanup. Okay, so because I'm gonna need to go through this business, so yeah, so that should not have broken anything, right? Oh yeah. It's going to be abstract. Okay, so I feel like do we actually use the value anywhere? Probably not. So what happens if I just make that protected? Six. So let's see what that does. That looks okay. And let's do public type. So what we're going to do is set type equals self copy. We're going to set this to insert. Set that to insert. Set that to insert. This is going to turn into delete. I feel like I missed one there. One, yeah, two. So that should not have broken anything. Okay, but now abstract. Oh, I guess we can set this to a Diff operation, that, I suppose. Let's just make sure that looks all right. Okay, and then now we can get rid of this operation. Yikes, what am I doing here? Type 1384, go. And 1372. Okay. So right, yeah, wait, what are we doing here? We're delete. Right, okay. Right, so if we get, yeah, if we get an insert, we cache it, and if we get a delete, we just do that. And I suppose so if we get a delete, right, we just so delete we're just gonna add to the result. Hold on a second. Right, we're building this, okay, so we're building this forward. So, all right, let me think about this. That means it's actually time for another bathroom break. And since I finished my coffee, I think I'm gonna brush my teeth too. So I'm gonna give myself about 6 minutes. So I'll be back. Be back shortly. Okay, I am back, but I need to take a second to respond to a text here, so just give me a second. Exciting times. Sorry about that. A little bit of a tech emergency from an old employer. I have a bad feeling he may have deleted his accidentally deleted his website. Guess I shouldn't laugh. It's not actually funny, but I guess I laugh when I'm to diffuse tense situations or nerves. Um, but now I'm trying to figure this out, I suppose. So, what are we saying here? In the simple case, if we get an insert, just stick it on. So in the simple case, if we get an insert or an insert, right, we just stick it on. Or no. Right, we're getting these in order. So if we get a copy, right, we basically want to clear so if the copy is the first thing we do, we just stick it on. If we then get a delete, we just stick it on. And then if we get an insert, we just stick it on. But we may have deletes and inserts mixed up. So if we get a delete, we just stick it on. If we get an insert, we cache that. And if we get a copy, right, we basically clear out the cache of inserts. So that bunches all the deletes and all the certs and all the copies up. So now I guess here we're saying, so right, if we get a copy, that like clears everything out, and then we'll just with like copy. So this gives us the pattern of copy, a repeating pattern of copy, delete, and insert. And I guess this is what we want here, maybe. Or I suppose, right? I mean, the world's our oyster. We could do whatever we want. Maybe that. So what that maybe means is if we get a delete, we stick that on. So I guess, right, if we get a delete unequal, I guess we cache that. So we're basically caching everything up to copies. We just sort maybe what our caches, what we're caching, and then whenever we hit a copy, we just clear out those caches in order. Is that all I'm saying? So give me a second again, sorry. You know what, let me answer an email real quick, which means I'm gonna go private. Sorry about this. Doing this will probably be easier than not easier, but quicker than quicker than if I type this all in text. Exhilarating streaming, I know. Sorry about that. Okay. Okay. So what did I say? I think I can maybe just stick everything in a cache here and be done with it. So oops. So where do we have these previous operations? But I think as a result, I want to, well, maybe update this so I have a better idea of what we're doing. And so we're going to have copy, insert, delete, and then we're going to have, what did I say? Insert unequal and delete unequal. And I guess I should put these in some sort of priority order. So copy we really don't need. Deletes we're just going to stick on anyway. So I guess maybe we'll set that to 1 maybe. 0, 1. Oh no, delete and equal we want to be 1. We want this to be 2. We want this to be 3. And we want this to be 4. And then we have, so insert, this is just going to be an insert. Copy is just going to be a copy. This is going to be insert unequal, as is this, because we should only, right, we should never run into both, right, these two cases should be mutually exclusive. We should never have both an insert less and an insert greater. This depends on what type of comparison we're doing. So okay, so delete and copy. I guess it doesn't really matter what I assign these, but I guess I was just thinking. If I could just make this array a straight up list, but I suppose it doesn't really matter. So diff operation. So we're saying if we get so if operation type equals diff operation delete, we're just going to tack that onto result. Otherwise, right, so what are we doing here? If it's an otherwise we're going to have previous operations operation type equals operation. Then we're saying for each previous operations delete an equal as previous. We're going to just tack that on. And we're basically just going to do this for each of those, I guess. And then I suppose we're going to want to set that to a new array. And then we're going to tack the operation on. I don't know, it might be worth adding this check here. Which means, I guess, our previous operations we're going to have something like that, I suppose. And so that, what, gets rid of that maybe? Hey, Schoolie, how are you? Welcome back. I'm doing well. I'm doing well today. What is going on here? 14. How are you doing? I tell you, these last few days of I feel like it's about perfect weather around here. I know, I know. That's kind of why I knocked off my stream yesterday because I'm like I need to go out and get a walk in while we have weather like this, right? In a month or two, we're going to be complaining about where did summer go. So what is this yelling at me about? Oh, well, we do need to we do actually need to take care of all this. So what is this? Well, oh, we don't need to reset this anymore. We just need to. And what happens if we just return from here? We got some changes. Let's see what we got. Test. What are we? Equal or less equal? 112. So I think we got that. Is that what we're saying? Yes. And this is in 139. So that went there, and that went there, right? Is that what we want? So we're saying 0, 2, and 4 went away. 1 and so 0, 2, and 4 went away. 1 and 3 need to be made greater than 1 and 2. 5 is okay. And then we tacked on a 6. So that looks good to me. I think what this means now is we can just get rid of all this other stuff. We need to keep that. So we can get rid of that. What are the chances? What are the chances? The chances are good, I guess. Chances are good. And I guess I don't really see any reason to to do that. I guess that looks good. Oh, yes, let's get rid of this. That's a dumb function to have. Do the same thing. Have you been floating around the software streams again today, Schoolie, or what are you up to? Anything exciting? I guess it doesn't have to be exciting, but oh really? You're streaming too? Have you been streaming for a while, or I mean, I guess, I remember what I wanted to do. Okay. Are you like you also stream gaming and stuff though, not just programming? Cool. What's the what's the game these days? Or do you bounce around? Cool. Yeah, I might do some, well, if you see my profile there, you can see I definitely do not have a gaming rig. Um, so I would be more inclined to stream games if I like my computer already has a hard enough time when I'm not doing anything and I'm just streaming. So if I'm also trying to run a game on it, probably won't be able to deal with it unless I run some old DOS game or something. But so yeah, streaming gaming is not really until I get the money to upgrade my rig. I guess it's not really an option for me. It depends on what I'm playing, I suppose. But I have like an integrated Intel graphics, so uh, so I think part of it is the GPU memory shares memory with the system memory. So that actually reduces my actual memory, but then I guess it probably has its own processing units, but it doesn't take much to get my machine hot and bothered, I guess. Especially again, I guess it depends on what I'm playing, but if I'm playing like an old DOS game, but if I'm trying to play like a AAA game, like anything modern, like I think the newest game I've tried to play in my computer is it Outlast? Is that the one where you're running around the mental asylum? And like I have to turn that down to like 720p, like medium graphics, and that's without streaming or anything. So I got as far into that game as the first jump scare, and I was playing it at night with the lights off, and it scared. I'm not gonna lie, it scared the crap out of me. I'm like, okay, I'm gonna put this away for another night. Which is funny because I do like scary movies and scary games, but that one just yeah, it scared the bejesus out of me. I don't know, maybe it's October, it rolls over to October, gets closer to Halloween. Maybe I'll braven up a little bit. Yeah, I don't know. I mean, I kind of like horror movies. Depends on the horror movie. More monster movies than like there's like this genre of horror movies that are like torture porn, like those Hostel movies, I guess, or maybe even Saw. Not a big fan of those, but like monster movies. That's more my I guess those aren't really scary too. I guess that's probably why I don't like the other ones because they're too real. It's like there's obviously not right monsters out there, I guess. At least not imaginary ones. So I think I want to get rid of this equals okay. And the way I want to do that is turn these into a bit string or bit mask. And I guess what that's going to look like is identical is going to be 0. Actually, these aren't going to look super different, but just to emphasize that these are a bit mask. And again, I'm going to have to make these runtime constants instead of compile time. So this is going to be, I think I already did this, but I don't think define is an actual function. So this is going to be Strangetest diff greater equal, and this is just going to turn into a bit mask of namespace diff equal and diff greater. And less equal is going to change into the same thing. So right now that shouldn't break anything other than not liking this define. Oh. Okay, well that's, did not know that. So let's see if I can figure out, is it P? What if I just do that? Okay, so Oops. Line 30. And then, oops. Line 30 again. Is that really it? Looks like it. All right. Where are these unsafe buffers? Okay. All right, so now where do we have equals? Oh. So what are we doing here? If match pass, or match equal, so once again, I'm trying to think if match equals is okay. So let's just say if compare is okay, this is okay. We're saying this is okay. So then you just do a copy value. Now, so let's just ignore this for a second. So if these are two composite types, the same type, yeah, I guess here we need to know whether we got an equal and whether the values match and whether that's okay. Because whether it's okay or not, we need to keep sort of going through until we hit a definitive match. So where are we keeping? We have the comparison in the state. So what we're going to say is okay, so let's get rid of this. And let's get rid of this, I guess. Actually, I guess I do want to keep these. Oops. Oh, I see what's going on here. Okay. So we're getting rid of this equals okay function. Let's see how much this breaks stuff. So 1001. All right. Well, yeah. $937. Same thing is going to happen here, I suppose. $828. This is going to go to state comparison and if equal. $828, $815. And 793, same thing here. Oh no, this is and. And then the same thing here, I guess. Okay. So what are these doing now? What's in here? Right, I wanted to do. So how am I handling? Mismatching keys, I guess. No worries. Oh, really? Thank you. Yeah, I'm sticking all the VODs up there. I don't know. I don't know how much interest they are to anybody, but yeah, I've been sticking them up there. But appreciate it. Thank you for the sub, and yeah, thank you for the lurk too. guess I'm going to do the same thing here. There's no sense pulling these out. Oof. Okay. So I guess the one thing, and then what are we doing here? We're doing, right, we passed the formatter and, okay, I guess we could just pass that state in. What are we doing in format value? Yeah, this seems rather silly to me. Uh, so show object ID is going to equal state comp equals diff identical. Okay, and then prefix is going to be state formatter. Where else do we use formatter in here? State formatter. So we no longer need this show object ID. So let's see what that does. So this is just going to go to the state. Uh, 1125. Again. $10.99. And 33. $10.23. $9.78. $9.68. think that should solve that. What did I do? Show key. Got a little too exuberant on the deleting things. Okay, so I think I have a function insert value. So this is going to go to, where's the lead? And this is going to turn into a diff state, and then we're going to pass the state in. And then if state comp and where did I take this out of? Greater than. And right, is that actually right? Insert. Yeah, this is inserting, so we want to end good lord. Okay, and so that will take care of that situation. And then, well, I guess we'll just do. Okay, so if, and I got this one out of greater than. And then finally with, what do we have? We have a function compare unequal, or compare equal values. So this is going to turn into what's after this? Build diff. I think we're going to need the state for that. I guess instead of strict, we want maybe something like greater. Did I do the right? Okay. Oh, this is no longer going to be um diff match pass. Otherwise, diff match error. Otherwise, diff match equal. What did I have here? Hmm. Uh, well, I don't know. I guess it doesn't really matter. So we have pass, diff match fail, diff match equal, diff match error. So does it matter if these are? matches. Well, I guess I don't need to comment that. So now we have that's going to be the state. Oh, for Christ's sake. All right. $188. So what is this? Tool, show key. Suppose we're going to need to type hint this up here. $908. So oops, 905. $32, $821. What do I need? I need. That is not going to make PHP Stan happy. Eight oh one. Eight. All right. That might be about all I want to do on this. I don't know. I guess I could keep sort of fiddling around with this, but I think most of the crud I've worked out. I've worked out of here. Open signal? He's a programmer or cool. Are you gonna go check them out? I'm about to wrap up here anyway, I think. So uh give me 1 second here. C sharp it looks like. And I think Angular is like a JavaScript framework, I think. Oh, well, he says right there JavaScript, but I think I don't know, you must be doing like C sharp on the back end and Angular for the front end. I'm not really familiar with any of the JavaScript frameworks. I think she might be learning JavaScript now. Oh, that's right. I'm on low to high. Like I've watched her a couple times and she's learning too, and I think she just started with JavaScript, although I haven't watched her recently. But cool. Yeah, I think I'm about, I don't know, all the major stuff I think I wanted to do, I've done. So, I mean, I can kind of keep poking around with this, but it's 5 o'clock. It's time to go. I need to go get something to eat too. So I may wrap up actually. But I was checking out your your digital clock yesterday, and if you're interested, I have a like 2 pieces of feedback on that. If you're interested, if you don't mind me showing it on my stream here. Uh, so let me this date get hours. So I noticed you were doing a uh like you were checking to see if it was 0 and then adding 12. And I guess the one thing I noticed was if you have 12 p.m., you're going to get 12. And if you have 12 a.m., you're going to get, oops, I should log that. You're going to get 0. And then if you, let's see if I can remember how to. And then you're doing that in your, so actually let me do, Let's see if that works. So right, you have a check in there where if it's 0, you add 12, but then later on you check to see if your hours are over 12. So I think the way you're doing that, you may be getting like midnight and noon mixed up. So I think that was kind of the one thing I noticed. Because this returns a number between 0 and 23. So you're always going to get, I think you're always going to call it AM. You're never going to get like 12 PM, I think. Yeah, and I know you're learning, so I wanted to just kind of show you. So I hope that's helpful. Yeah, no worries, no worries. It always helps to have someone else look at one's code, you know? Especially if you're just learning. Yeah, sure. I can maybe like open an issue, I guess. Would that work? Or I suppose I don't know if I can leave a comment right in the code, right on the line of code. Oh yeah, I'll either open an issue or if I can leave a comment right on the code line. I'll do one of the two. Cool. Oh, I need to minimize this again. But then I changed the main. Oh, that's right. And if you're gonna head up to the other channel, thanks for dropping in, Schoolby. Or if you're gonna keep lurking, either way. Thanks. You too. Uh, function. Okay, so diff unequal. I guess I could just make that an int. I don't know. That's a little bit obnoxious, that. Cool, maybe. All right, well, I'm just kind of poking around now, so I feel like there's a little bit more I could do, but I guess I kind of got rid of, touched on the big stuff. So I guess what I'll do is I'll just quit out of here. What was my last commit? Did that go up? I guess it did. Just make sure this all passes, and I think I'll call it a wrap. Cool. All right. Um, I may have to take care of something else tomorrow, so I don't know if I'm going to stream. But I may just take another look at all this off stream, and yeah, I don't know. But I'll probably try and stream this weekend if I don't get on tomorrow. Because I think I'm basically calling all this diff work done, and I want to move on. And actually, that reminds me, I guess. We can get rid of that, and I think I might add this to the code. Up here. Oops. Oh, I guess this could be another to-do is that might be another to-do worth looking at. Although we don't necessarily have any performance issues at the moment, it seems like, but and I guess I'm also not. It's potentially questionable how much of those. It's been a while since I've looked at this one here. Oh, that's by Google. Okay. Um, yeah, it's been a while since I've looked at this, but it's not hasn't been updated in a while, so it probably hasn't changed much. But since that's doing, I think just yeah, plain text diffs. I'm not 100% sure how much of that is applicable, but it'd be probably worth taking a look at. And this one might, I don't know. I guess I like having all the lines of text there, especially if you're trying to look at variables, but I'm sure some people won't. So that shouldn't be too big of a deal, I feel like. Although who knows, but that would just be some changes in here, I think. So so what do we have left in, excuse me? Just make sure I'm unmuted now. Uh, so what I'm thinking about, right, we have not that. Basically, right, this here, basically doing more formatting on failures, and then this here. And I've also noticed that because like since we've implemented right now any sort of test failure formatting is implemented in Dr. Strangetest's own exceptions. So right here, right, we sort of implement, well, we don't, we have our own exceptions, but then all the sort of formatting is implemented in the exception itself. So we've got what, failure, and then skip does the same thing. And as a result, exceptions that are thrown by PHP come out looking differently than ones we throw. And so this needs to move outside to sort of standardize that formatting. And then also, there are errors that we log that are errors we found manually, like not as a result of throwing in an exception, but because we're manually logging that, then we're not providing like file and line number location. So that's kind of the next thing I want to look at. And I think Yeah, most of this other stuff is mainly like handling tests. So I feel like I'm pretty close to where I want to be for a quote unquote 1.0 release. All right, so okay, yeah. So with that, I'm gonna call that a stream. Probably get a bite to eat, which means I need to go to the store. But if anybody's lurking or watching the VOD afterwards, then I appreciate you joining me. And wherever, whenever, or whoever you are, I bid you peace. Take care.